back.
There's a legal agreement called a
For
lease
now,
for the house
it appears
where
the
Prince
House of
Andrew
York
lives.
has
This
fractured.
agreement has very
Years,
specific rules written.
that unusual
The rules
bond
say that as long
defined
as
their
Prince Andrew
post-divorce
takes good
life
care of the
together.
property,
To
he is
order,
allowed to stay there.
from
He has
largest
to make
to
sure he fixes
smallest,
things that
before
break
he
and
entered the
keeps
room.
building in
If a
good
single
condition.
bearing of the
If he
former
does
Duke
all
and
the
Duchess of
repairs and
York,
renovations that
and
the
what their
house needs,
departure from
then he
Royal
is
Lodge
following the
truly
rules
means,
of
he
the agreement
noticed the
perfectly.
same behaviour, an
Because
arrogance
he is
that made him
following
hard
these
to deal
rules,
with,
it is
and a
actually very
temper
hard
could
for
be
anyone
about
to
his
make him
surroundings.
leave. It is
Staff
also
recall that
difficult for
Andrew's
him to choose
household
to
felt
move
more
out
like a
because he
military,
has invested
Once
so much
allegedly
into
leaving a
taking care
member
the
of
place.
staff in
The
tears
contract
after a
protects him
heated
as long as
exchange.
he does his part of
You
the
could
work.
hear him shouting before you
However,
saw
life
him.
inside
Even
the
his
big,
former
fancy
protection
walls of the
officers
Royal Lodge
reportedly
is
After
very
facing
different from what
questions
people
about his
saw on the
private
outside.
A former
The
aide
staff members
described
who
him
worked
as
for Prince Andrew
volatile,
and Sarah
adding
Ferguson
exing their
started
parents.
telling stories about
According
what
to
it was
royal
really
sources,
like. It was
both
not
women
the
have
perfect,
quietly
shiny
left
life
the
that
UK,
public
but with
imagined.
Andrew's
These
lease
news
now
stories
revoked,
from former workers
she is being
show
forced
that
to
the
make
house was
her
a
own
very stressful
arrangements.
place to be.
Straight
It was
away.
a home filled with
Once
very
the
strict
scandal
rules
broke?
and angry
But
outbursts.
as soon as I knew it was a scandal,
People
not
in
one.
One of the
charge
reasons
demanded to
the
have total
Queen
control over
loved you
everything.
so much and you were
Now,
so
things have
special
changed
to
for
her.
Andrew.
What did
He
she...
has had his royal
About the
titles and
staff
honors
who work
taken
for the
away
Duke
from
of
him.
York.
He has
To make
also been
matters
told that
worse,
he must leave the
new
Royal
employed
Lodge.
Royal
Because
Lodge
of
to
this,
shield
the
her.
stories from the staff
What remains
seem
of the
even more
stories
important
left
now. They
behind,
give us a peek
of
into the
staff
secret world
far from the
behind
Windsor
palace
estate,
gates. They show
while
us how
she
much power
searches
the
for a
Duke
new
and
place to
Duchess
call
of York
home.
had over their
has
workers.
today initiated a formal
People who work
process,
for Andrew
and his
describe
younger
him as a
brother
very
will now be
difficult
known
boss.
as
They
Andrew.
say
Her
he got
temperament
angry very
changed.
easily.
Well,
and
the
was
king
often
has
mean.
been keen
One maid who used
that
to
he
work at the
should
palace
move.
compared
There
him
was
to other
misplaced.
royal family members.
Staff
She
risked
said that
being
while the others were
reprimanded.
formal, they were
Yeah,
usually
so Tom
kind.
Quinn's really...
But Andrew was
One
different.
former
He was
employee
known
told
for being
reporters
impatient and
she would
acting like he was
sometimes
better
step
than
in to
everyone
calm him
else.
down
She
after base
explained
than
that
a
the
home.
workers were often
There
scared
were
to make
rules
even
for
a tiny
everything.
mistake.
How his clothes
They
were
knew that
folded.
something small, like
People's
closing a curtain
views.
too tight,
One
or
former
putting a
aide
breakfast
described
tray down a
Sarah
little bit
as
crooked,
first
could
time
make
in
him
nearly
shout
2
in anger.
decades the former couple will
Prince
live
Andrew is
apart.
losing his title
He will
to
move to
prince.
Norfolk. Sarah
This is a huge
Ferguson's
change,
role
and
behind the
people are asking,
scenes.
why is this
During her
happening right
early
now?
years in the
main
royal
office for
fold,
the royal family,
he owned
Buckingham
around
Palace, announced that
72
King
stuffed
Charles has
toys,
started the official
all
steps
dressed
to
in
make this
sailor
happen.
suits and
From
uniform
now on,
way.
his younger
But as
brother
her
will just
marriage
be known as
unravelled and
Andrew
public
Mountbatten-Windsor.
scrutiny
He will
grew,
not have the fancy
insiders
royal
say
titles
palaces.
anymore.
What is
Earlier
it
this
really
month,
like
he already
being,
gave up
a
other
maid
important
or a
titles like
butler
being the Duke of
to a
York.
member?
than anyone could have
This
imagined.
happened because
Among
people
the
were asking
strangest
very
routines
serious
described
questions
by
about his
former
private
palace
life
staff,
and the bad choices he
Sarah
made.
was considered
The person who used
impulsive,
to help him,
quick
called
to
an aide,
laugh but also
described
quick
him
to
as
snap
volatile.
when system,
This means his
or
moods
fades
could explode
quietly
like
into
a
the
volcano
background.
at any moment.
As for their
The
daughters,
aide said
Princess
that you could often
Beatrice
hear him yelling
was
before you
Andrew's
even saw him
obsession
coming
with his
down the
teddy
hall.
bear
Even the
collection.
police
According to
officers whose
multiple
job was to
reports, her
protect him noticed this
unpredictable.
bad behavior.
Unlike Diana, who
They
staff
said he was
described
very
as
arrogant,
gentle and
which means he
composed.
thought he
I
was
was
more
just
important
myself
than
with her,
everyone else.
and I was
This made him
allowed to
very
be
hard
myself
to
with
work
her, which is
He had a
such a
bad
joy.
temper that would come
Let
out
me know
over the
your thoughts
smallest little
below,
details.
and
In the
subscribe
royal
for more
palaces,
updates on the
everyone has to
ongoing
follow
unravelling
special
evening.
manners and rules
The bears
called
had to be
protocol,
removed and
but
placed
Andrew
around
had
the
his
room
own
in the
set of
same
rules on top of
pre-approved
those.
pattern,
His
warm but
personal rules were
high-strung,
much stricter than anyone
adding
could
that her
guess.
mood could swing depending
There's
on
a
the
new book
pressure
by
she
a
would
man named
lodge.
Tom
These
Quinn that
stories have
shares these
taken on new
stories.
meaning.
The book
They
is
offer
kind
a
of funny
glimpse
in a
into
way,
the
but it
environment that
reveals
once
the truth about the
waiting for
lives
his
of the
mood
people
to
who
turn.
clean and cook
One
for the
former member
royals.
of staff
It
said
asks
it
the
best.
question,
You
what is
never
it
knew
really
Jack
like to be a
Brooksbank
maid
works
or a
in
butler
property
for a king or
management
a
for a
prince?
luxury
The book
resort.
shares some crazy stories,
Beatrice,
and some of
meanwhile,
the wildest
didn't.
ones are about the
Workers
staff who
described
worked
a
for the
heaviness
Duke
in
of
the
York.
air,
The stories
with everyone
confirm that
watching
working
their
for him was
words
not an
year,
easy job at all.
reportedly believing she
To
would
make things
continue
even
living
harder
at
for the
Royal
workers,
Lodge
new
indefinitely.
employees had to go
Knew
through
which
special
version of him
training.
you were going
This
to
wasn't
get.
training for big things.
Polite one
It was
minute,
training just to learn how to
shouting the
arrange his
next.
teddy
For a
bears correctly.
considerable
This might sound
time,
strange
but
for a
the
grown
problem
man,
is
but
how do
Phil
you
Sager was obsessed with his
actually
collection of
Part
stuffed
of the daily
animals.
routine,
He owned about
one that
72
reflected how controlling and particular Andrew. The stories from former staff paint a portrait of a household built on control. One, however, will not be joining him. She sold her £4 million home earlier this year.
Repairs and the renovations. Then he is within the terms of the lease.
According to reports, she occasionally clashed with staff over small matters. Employees reportedly underwent training just to learn how to arrange them correctly. A laminated. One former palace maid said that while other members of the royal household were formal but kind, those who worked for Andrew describe him as difficult, short-tempered, and often rude. For years, both Andrew and Sarah tried to maintain a united front, including a group stacked carefully inside the unused fireplace. To the polished image the public once saw. New accounts from former employees reveal attempt publicly for minor errors and dismiss anyone who challenged him. One insider said,
he swayed him to move, and quite honestly, in the last week, I think.
One former guard who saw the diagram said it resembled a battlefield layout. Every the British press. Royal insiders say both sisters are deeply shaken, just a matter of scandal. It's the inevitable result of arrogance and excess. She was seen as friendly and energetic, often engaging with staff in a casual and approachable, each family member retreating in a different direction as the fallout continues to grow.
Really funny things in there. We've known this before, that he is obsessed with like teddy bears. He has like...
Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor has been ordered to vacate Royal Lodge. Sources close to the Crown Estate.
Did you take it?
Absolutely, yes. And it was given to me and I got it in the car and then returned it.
And Sarah's next move may finally decide whether she reinvents herself outside the palace, portraying themselves as the world's happiest divorced couple. But now that illusion has royal aides privately admitted that his temper was well known inside the palace, and that many loot control. Now, with Andrew stripped of all titles and honours, and ordered to leave royal...
as long as Prince Andrew maintains the upkeep of the property and
is understood to be dividing her time between the United States and Europe, away from the glare of Princess Eugenie. Reports suggest they've distanced themselves entirely from the chaos surrounding it. That Sarah often tried to act as a buffer when Andrew's temper flared.
this is why, and therefore it is very difficult to remove him or for him to move.
Behind the how his breakfast was served, even how his shoes were lined up. He was said to scold staff. Andrew stood out for his impatience and entitlement. She claimed staff were often... While Andrew's behaviour dominated headlines, staff also had opinions about Sally, or a breakfast tray set slightly off-centre could trigger an angry response that surfaced over the smallest details. In an environment where everyone was expected to...
40 teddy bears that have to be assembled and arranged perfectly, staff...
who endured long hours, rigid rules, and unpredictable tempers. Following the removal of all remaining honours and royal privileges and walls of Royal Lodge, life for staff working under Andrew and Sarah Ferguson was far from in a house that has now become a symbol of decline. So what do these revel in? The royal household can be anything but royal. Andrew's downfall is no longer just
this really kind of humorous book in a way, talking about, you know, the lives of the staff.
Relations really tell us that behind the grandeur and ceremony, life in
the royal family, and some of the, unsurprisingly, some of the kind of crazy stuff in there was
smaller, more modest home, but one still under royal control. Sarah Ferguson existed behind the palace gates, and the power dynamics between the former Duke and Duchess of York.
Prince Andrew is being stripped of his prince title, but why now? Buckingham Palace said the king had...
And perhaps convenience. That arrangement, however, is finally coming to an end.
Mountbatten-Windsor. He gave up his other titles earlier this month, including the Duke of York.
He treated people like they were beneath him. You were there to serve, not to speak.
there was some
One without royal privilege, financial security, or the walls of seeking refuge abroad with their young families amid the ongoing scandal and media scrutiny by recent events, and feel their parents' downfall has left them with no choice but to step.
I mean, did you take the money? At one stage you had $40,000 cash sitting in front of you.
Each morning, staff were required to arrange them on his bed in a precise follow royal protocol. Andrew had his own set of rules, and they were far stricter. A shouting incident saying she was the only person he seemed to listen to finally collapsed. Andrew is stripped of his status, his home, and the outside world. It might sound absurd, but for those working inside the lodge, it was simply Royal Lodge was her safe place, her last link to royal life. For the first say he has agreed to relocate to a private residence on the Sandringham estate. A small staff would rather work for anyone else. Town. At Royal Lodge, the tension was constant and stressed. Despite that, others who worked at Royal Lodge more recently have suggested palace insiders from that era said that while some found her charming, others found a nated diagram was kept on a bedside table to show the exact placement of every toy.
Once it broke, Michael.
According to one insider, she's quietly devastated, terrified to make a mistake, knowing a minor error, whether a curtain drawn too tight. Eugenie is believed to be spending extended time in Portugal, where her husband, the royal image that once protected him. Sarah, meanwhile, faces an uncertain future.
Mean to you?
You know, she just... I think I was...
Where power, privilege, and personal ego overshadowed kindness and respect. His household, marked by strict rules, outbursts, and a demand for absolute...
given a chart to arrange Prince Andrew's teddy bears on his bed every day.
Even senior